think I'm online for YouTube, and you're seeing the whole back end here, so don't do anything bad with that information. Oh boy. Oh dear. See that? Not my cop Squidward. This is a piece of street art that my cousin, who's a drag king in San Francisco, got me at one point. Okay. I thought I had done this. And I am using Restream, which is a thing. Might only be able to get it on... Oh, that's the problem. You can probably see all this. That's the issue. See how that works. Ew, there's my horrible face. Unfortunately, I can't get rid of this using Droid Cam thing because I would have to pay money, and I don't have that. So, all right, are we going on Instagram? Perhaps. Oh yeah, look at that. Damn, okay. All right. What do I have up instead of just a mirror of me? I probably should have thought about this. Let's see. Yoshi compilation. Evolution of best Yoshi moments. Most hype Yoshi plays in Smash Ultimate. Okay, that sounds kind of fun. Oh no, you know what I should actually do? It was for... I don't know how much you could even see this. This is fascinating content so far, I'm sure. I don't know how much you could even see this. This is fascinating content. I could probably pop out the chat, actually. At least the YouTube one. Okay. Yeah, that's the good stuff. Okay, this. We'll just put this on a loop in the background, and then do that. How about that? Okay. Hello everyone. I don't know how many people are actually here. Doesn't seem like any. And I can't check on my phone. That's the other thing. Sorry, I'm just closing some of my many tabs. And then we'll get actually started. Okay. Happy Easter, one and all. I'm in my cave right now. Or wait, so you can still see, kind of. It's the weirdest framing that anyone's ever done for a stream, but I'm gonna continue doing it anyway. Anyway, hopefully you can hear me. Let me know. So, I'm being vulnerable. I'm putting myself in front of the camera right now. I'm in this shirt that my ex gave me. It's for the Playboy 37th annual jazz festival in 2015. And I'm wearing it because it has a rabbit on it. And I thought that was appropriate. But I am, in my pajamas, fully. So that's that. And I know I guess I could put the chat up on the screen, but I don't know how to do that for Instagram, which is where I actually want to see it. Because I don't think I've ever streamed on Instagram before. What is this? What's going on here? I never know. Anyway. Today I wanted to hang out because I am alone on Easter. The rest of my extended family is doing something. I don't know what. They usually have dinner. They made eggs. There's a tradition in my family, at least on my mom's side, to make eggs that are based on the Oscar nominees from that year. So I guess they did that. My mother showed me a Aunt Gladys from Weapons egg that was done. And apparently she did a begonia egg. I suggested the begonia egg, and usually there are puns inherent to these eggs. And so the pun for begonia was egg on ya. Egg on ya. Egg in me. So that was my contribution. I cannot be there though because I have COVID-19, and you may not be able to tell, other than me clearing my throat a little bit. Yes, I've been trapped inside for the past week, and I've got another week to go, and I better fucking test negative by next Saturday, because next Saturday is Gendermation, which is the first and only event that I've ever had anything to do with putting on myself, and I may not even be well enough to go and attend my own thing, so that's just great and ironic for my life. It makes sense given my sort of whole deal. But anyway, because I'm stuck inside, I thought I would do a weird little IRL stream, which I'm also very uncomfortable being on camera. I hate looking at this. I just hate that. So you're getting a lot of vulnerability for me today. And so what are we doing? Here's the itinerary. Number 1, my mother, who is not here, made me a little Easter basket. And in the Easter basket are Yoshi egg cookies. Oh, these are hard. These are very hard. I don't know if they're supposed to be... These are like sugar cookies, so I don't know how they're supposed to be that, that hard. God bless my mother. She, I had gotten these cookies, weeks ago, using my, electronic benefits transfer, or whatever, that actually stands for. My EBT, my government cheese, that I get every month. I had gotten them, because I thought it would be funny. And for my close personal friends, sometimes I will do, sort of taste testing videos, and those are only for them, which is why you have not seen those. However, I thought it would be appropriate to share, this one with the world, because my username on fantendo.wikia.com, I refuse to invoke fandom.com, the bad website, but I grew up on this website called Fantendo, where you made fake Wikipedia articles for fake video games that don't exist. And my username on that website was Yoshi Egg, because I've had this long-term love affair with Yoshi, which is also what this stream is about. So first and foremost, we'll be mukbanging these one of these Yoshi Egg cookies. It's just a sugar cookie. My mom did put them in the oven for me last night, evidently, as I found out this morning. But they are just sugar cookies. So I was like, that is not. Usually that's the kind of video that I would send my friends, but like, but that's not a very exciting video. It's just me taking a bite of a sugar cookie and saying that's a sugar cookie. Then I had the thought, what if we theme it around Yoshi and I show my friends all of the Yoshi stuff that I currently have in my room that I've amassed over my 28 years of life. Because I am a 28-year-old adult whose room looks like this and who is doing a stream showing my toys and eating cookies. So that's the state of my life right now. Fantastic. But in any case, I was like, let's show all my Yoshi stuff, because that could be potentially interesting for my friends. And I'm talking like 10 people in the group chat who I've known from the days of being Yoshi Egg on that aforementioned website. But then I was like, maybe that could be interesting. Like maybe I could do a little stream, because I've got nothing but time here. Maybe I could show the good people of the wider public internet my Yoshi collection. And then I was like, well, while I'm here, I'm probably not going to be able to control myself talking about the Mario movie, which I did see, even though I do have COVID. I have my ways, and we'll keep it at that. And if you would like a link, hypothetically, parody in Minecraft, if you would like a link to the Mario Galaxy movie, DM me and see what happens. Maybe you'll receive something parody in Minecraft. I don't condone something parody for legal reasons. I don't condone any funny business. No funny business. But anyway, so long story short, Step one, these. And eating on stream, that sounds horrible to me. Never have wanted to do that in my life. So, I think the COVID has spread to my brain and is giving me brain sickness. Because I'm acting very out of character. And I am pretty much better, by the way. You can maybe hear it a little bit in my throat, but, you know, I'm fine. It's just annoying because I'm still testing positive. I can't, you know, interact with the world. Nor would I want to if I'm still testing positive, obviously. But, my mom still hasn't gotten it. I live with her. I am 28 years old. And yeah, my mom still hasn't gotten it, which is crazy. Thank God. It's mostly because I've been walking around in a mask, and also I've been using the only gloves that I have available to me, which are these like winter ass gloves that also have like a special material on them for your phone, apparently. I'd gotten them for when I was going to Scotland and the UK fucking 4 years ago. So these gloves have not been used because I do live in Los Angeles, California, more or less. So it's like 100 degrees outside right now. Anyway, let's cut to the shit. And let's eat some Yoshi's cookies. Now these were, and I couldn't find the box. My mom probably threw it away like a normal person would. But these were like Pillsbury type cookies. I believe I got them at the Target. One of many promotional materials for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which we will talk about a little bit later. I'm gonna make you sit through a bunch of bullshit first, and then we can actually talk about the film. And there will be copious spoilers, I'm sure. So that, but later, not right now. Anyway, these we're gonna eat one of these. Then I'm gonna show you my collection of Yoshi memorabilia that I've collected over the years. And maybe that will be interesting. And then we'll get into the shit. We'll talk about the Mario Galaxy movie, which I do want to do. Jesus Christ. I intend to do a video, unfortunately, because that's also the state of my life right now, where I have enough to say about the Mario Galaxy movie that I'll probably make a video on it. So this stream is sort of like a prequel to that. I'll be saying what I'll probably end up saying in that video if I do make that video, but in a much less elegant way. So if you want to see a future video but earlier but worse, stick around. Okay. Let's crack these open. Do you get it? It's an egg pun. So yes, these are smaller than I thought. They are Yoshi egg shaped. And my mother overcooked them, I think. I don't think they're really supposed to be like, because they're like hard. You know, I usually like it when a sugar cookie is a little chewy, like barely cooked. This is not me criticizing my mother for this. She just put them in the oven and gave them to me, which is very nice. I guess they're like maybe a little squishy. So anyway, let's try this this product. Yep. That's a sugar cookie. This is content. This is the state of content. Yep. Normal. So all my friends who were sort of mostly in jest, but still like asking me to do this. See how entertaining that is? Not very. I mean, that being said, I will eat all of these. Most likely. Okay. With that out of the way, it's time for yet more products that I have. I'm going to take a sip of water and show you. Guess I can show you my stickers. They're all pretty busted. With a few exceptions. Is this interesting? I don't know. Is there like loop this video? Oh yeah. Look at that. I'm streaming. 1 second. All right. Okay. Let's get into the shit. So, I've collected a lot of Yoshi stuff over the years because I do love him very much. He's my friend. I should probably save all the Mario Galaxy movie talk for after this segment, but I'll tease you with a little bit of it right now. I thought that Donald Glover did a pretty good job. The assignment was not rocket science, but I can respect the creative decision by all involved to not have him speak full sentences. That's mostly what I was concerned about, and I think what most people were concerned about was that he would that he would speak full sentences, or just otherwise not really sound like him at all, much like Christopher Pratt. So I'm glad that they avoided that. And you know, in my heart of hearts, I am, and this is one of the things that I want to inject into this video, that I want to make at some point. In my heart of hearts, I am kind of having to reckon with the fact that not only is Yoshi kind of the minions of this movie, but he is kind of in a long line of like cute, marketable animated sidekick characters, but just, you know, having been mostly in video games up to this point. There were the cartoons, obviously, and there was the live action movie in which he was just a straight up velociraptor, which is hilarious and good. And that movie rules. If you want like an analysis of that movie that gels with my analysis of that movie, Aronok just put out a video about it, comparing it to the 2023 one that's pretty great. So, and says a lot of the things that I probably will end up regurgitating in my video if and when I make that. So go watch that video. Anyway, I've had a long love affair with Yoshi, both because of and in spite of the fact that he is a marketable blurbo. The marketing has worked on me in a very deep-seated way for literal decades. And the prime example of that is this busted ass Yoshi toy, whose armpit is a little broken. Or no, it's this one. This was born in 1997, which is the year that I was born. But I was born on December 28th, so this is probably older than I am. And I used to carry this around with me everywhere I went. This is my autism totem. And as you can clearly see, I used to carry this around with me everywhere. And I used to hold it like this. Often my hands were much smaller. The tail would go between the fingers like this. It was just like comforting for me. And yes, I would take him everywhere. And he was my guy. And my father got me this off of eBay in probably like 2003, I want to say. And I was very small. This was I believe, Burger King toy. Maybe, no, it was a McDonald's toy. And it is technically a squirt toy, as you can see on the bottom here. And actually, I have another one that is in much better condition, so I can actually put these side to side and show you what he did used to look like back in the day. I have another one of these because my dad quickly got hip to the fact that I was going to be carrying this around with me everywhere. This was a precious object to me. So he got a backup, and then I found it somewhere one day, and I was like, why are there two? And he was like, yeah, I got you backup just in case anything happened to this one. So I've had a pretty good run of it in terms of parenting. But anyway, on the bottom of these, they have a little S, and yeah, this one also says 1997 on the butthole. These are technically squirt toys, and if you leave them in a hot car, because they really are like very rigid plastic, for the most part. You can kind of bend this back, which is why it's cracked now. Um, but you definitely can't like squeeze these unless they get very, very, very hot. And you leave them in a hot car, which I have before on accident, and they they do get squishy enough to hold water. I wouldn't like when water would get in this because it would like swish around. It kind of had the same effect as like having water stuck in your ear from like going in the pool, and so I never liked that. But anyway, this one in particular um, was my guy that I would carry around with me. How did my Yoshi hyperfixation begin? I believe it would have been on my grandmother's Super Nintendo that she had at her house, and it probably would have been on Super Mario World, the original. So I was with Yoshi since his very inception. I mean, a few years removed, but still. The first game that he was in, I was there. And then my after school, elementary school, daycare had a Nintendo 64, and I remember around the same time, it was like very early 2000s, playing the Mario Party games. And those had Yoshi in little outfits, and that was exciting to me, because I was like, that's great, and it's still exciting to me. I love that. In the Mario Galaxy movie, mild spoilers, they sort of put him in a little outfit. I was a very big fan of that scene. That scratched my brain. But anyway, so my Yoshi hyperfixation is very deep-seated. I couldn't tell you why. I think I just thought he was cute. And he is, I think, rather objectively, quite cute. And, yeah, I mean, he's just always been sort of the prototypical Blorbo to me. And let's see, also tracking my Yoshi hyperfixation. Around the same time, I got into Yoshi's Island, and this was the port for the Game Boy Advance, so it's a little bit fake fan of me to some people, but that was the one that I grew up with, and I played the shit out of that video game. I don't think I have my Game Boy anymore, but it was that was a very precious item for sure. And I would often be playing that with him, not in hand because I needed both of them, but you know, close by. So yeah, and in that, I became very attached to the asynchronous storytelling that was going on in the Yoshi's Island game, and that whole aspect of the Mario timeline, because, like, and I didn't have these exact thoughts, like, articulated this exact way, back when I was a child, but it was definitely, like, these were ideas that I built over time. But I was struck by how you know, Yoshi had, they're omnivorous, and they will pretty much eat anything that is presented to them. Um, if not for food, then certainly for egg, and then egg more often than not for ammunition. Um, and they sort of indiscriminately will eat things. I suppose when you're Mario, you're sort of instructing him to eat. When you're like riding on his back, I don't exactly know how the concept of agency works there. And so arguably you could say that the Yoshis are only eating anything because of your input, but um, we'll not get into that. That's a whole that's crazy. Um, but uh, I was struck by the fact that they are this omnivorous species. They will eat anything. They had, uh, you know, green capital Y Yoshi had a meal literally drop on his back from the sky in the form of Baby Mario, and yet he did not eat him. Um, he he and the other Yoshis in the Yoshi tribe, I guess, um, all worked together to bring him home to his brother because it was the right thing to do. And I found that to be very touching, and I think the idea of this race of creatures existing who are just sort of like inherently good uh, and helpful to people who they don't know and don't have a reason to like um, was is striking to me, and of course they are they did that because it's a video game and they needed a premise for the video game. um, but I don't know. I always thought that was sweet, and then also the idea that Yoshi's have always like been with the Mario Brothers, but then they like reunite later in life in Super Mario World for the first time, and then like continue that connection in their adult life was always an interesting thought to me. Um, Something that, spoilers, is not in the movie at all. They just nixed that entirely in favor of a scene that is like half referencing the Yoshi's Island games and half referencing Yoshi's Safari, which is a light gun game from back in the day, and also sort of half referencing Mario Odyssey. They put that scene in the movie just to, from my perspective, be sort of a consolation prize for sort of nixing the whole connection, which I will say would have been difficult to, render in a way that made sense to general audiences. I think for sure, but not as difficult as I think you would think. And I'm going to propose an alternative later. Anyway, I'm getting too into the weeds. We were looking at my Yoshi collection, so this was the beginning. And this is actually probably the most recent, really, if you don't count the cookies. My most recent addition to my Yoshi collection was my partner Bowie made this for me out of perler beads, and it is the front-facing Yoshi's Island sprite, which I think you only see during like the victory screen of the game, like when the score is getting tallied up at the end of each stage. and he goes like, um, so anyway, I thought this was great. I will usually hook this onto my jeans, wherever I go. I like it a lot. Also, in the spirit of things that you put on your body, this is sort of my main pin jacket, and so I have this. This is not an official thing. I forget where I got it. I think it's from Etsy. But that's based on the Mario World sprite, and the tongue can come in and out, which people at parties, the few parties that I ever go to, enjoy. And his tongue can come out, and that's fun. And then it's got this weird little hinge to it, which is strange, but mechanically necessary. I also have Gino here, who is my husband, my wooden husband. So, those are a few non-official Yoshi things that I like to keep on my person. And I suppose I can also show these are my actual house keys. I'll block the actual house keys. This used to have a little spinning pendant of Yoshi on it, but that's now a pin somewhere else on some other jacket, because it fell off, and I was like, well, fuck it. So I put a pin back on it and super glued it all together. Anyway, yeah, that's my keychain. What else do we got? So this I will usually keep on my desk over here. This, I believe, was a Burger King thing. And he slid down, maybe it was a pole or something. And then also you could press his saddle shell. There is a little switch that you can flick here. Oh, you can kind of hear it still. I didn't think it worked. Oh, you can kind of hear it still. I didn't think that sounds horrifying. See if you can actually hear that. That sounds horrifying. See if you can actually hear that. Oh. Kind of works now. So it's just the music. Oh, that's delightful. So yes, we have a very weirdly proportioned Yoshi here. And also a dog from years past. Boo, who I talked about in the Adventure Time episode or video, was probably the culprit of this. Had gotten his teeth on this at some point, evidently. But yeah, so this is a strange Yoshi, and I usually have him like you can't really see it very well, but this is like a thing that holds all my pens and shit. I'll usually just have him over here. I haven't turned this on in many years, so like at least 15 years this thing has not been on, so I'm surprised it still works. Originally it was, I turned it on a second ago, and you could kind of hear it like eking out. Okay, one more time. Alright, cute. He's going back over here. Here is, I guess I can show you the Smash Brothers amiibo. This is nothing too fancy, but and it's, oh god, everything is so dusty. I should have dusted shit off before I showed it to the internet. The Smash Brothers amiibo. I got the other one. Yeah. So this is my Yoshi amiibo. I have a few other amiibos maybe I can show you. They're like, oh, you can kind of see him. Oh, one of the shells. Okay, let's see. We have this, another really weirdly proportioned Yoshi, and this is like a little wind-up toy. Let's see if this says where this is from. Burger King 2002. So this is another Burger King. I think maybe that one and that one were like from the same set. But he has an egg and his head kind of goes back and forth weirdly. And yeah, you can like scoot him across the ground. And his cheeks are very distended. And yeah, so those are my weirdly proportioned Happy Meal Yoshis that I got. Let's see what else. Oh, this is another, I think, Etsy thing that was gifted to me once upon a time. The big Chungus Yoshi from Mario RPG. So that's fun. I've yet to put this on a lot of things because I'm just afraid of it getting damaged, but I think he's very good. Clearly handmade. He's a good guy. This, I believe, is a light. Continuing with the egg theme. Yeah, it's got like a little micro USB back here. And I believe this can turn on, hypothetically. I've never done it before. Do I have a micro USB in here? It'd take me too long to dig it out. But yeah, this is my egg that I just sort of have. Again, continuing with the namesake. Guess I can show. I have two Yoshi Pez's. One is mint in the box for some reason, and the other one is not. Don't remember where these came from, but these are pretty easy to come by. And I believe that they have, because I've definitely seen a Luigi one out in the wild before. In fact, I think when I used to work at a board game store in Long Beach, it was bad. But when I was working there, I swear there was a Luigi one, so I think they made more in this like line. But yeah. Yoshi Pez. I'm gonna start going over here to get some of the shit that's on my bed. My room is a fucking mess right now. I'm glad you can only see this quadrant of it. So this is just a little backpack with him on it. It's very portable. I like bringing this bag places because it's just like a teeny tiny little backpack, and I don't have to think about it very much. Right now it's got all my Nintendo Switch shit in it. So like the dock is in here, and like a couple GameCube controllers and just various cables and stuff. So usually whenever I need to take my somewhere, I'll just like put it in this its own thing, and do that. Here's something not technically Yoshi related, but cool, I thought. Here's something not technically Yoshi related. Oh god, these are also really dusty. These are little figures, and I have no idea if they're official or not. I'm looking on his ass, which is usually where you can. It is so small. I can't even tell. But these are figures of the live action 1993 Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo Mario with the rocket boots. And I forget where these came from. I think they were like a Secret Santa thing from many years ago. But these are great. The likeness on Bob Hoskins Mario is like pretty good. The likeness on John Leguizamo Luigi is maybe not as accurate. So I always thought that was funny. And let's see. Here's the last of the things that were on my little nightstand, and then I'll have to get up and grab some more shit. This is a very old stylus. Nintendo DS stylus. With a wrist strap, which I always thought was interesting, but kind of nice. Yeah, this is definitely a prized possession. Because I'm not sure how. Maybe you can tell me in the comments how like rare or not this kind of thing actually is. But I love this thing. I still use this when I'm playing like games that require a stylus, which is not often these days, but still. Okay, I'll grab a couple other things. Hopefully not knock all my shit over. Oh, I'll show you this, you can't really see. Oh god. Oh, and you know, there's actually something beneath me that is Yoshi related, so I'll show you that too. You kinda can't, sorry, I'm just like showing you my Wii-Wa. These pants have this like red stain on them. I don't know. These were thrifted many years ago, and I don't know where that came from. They came like that, but I always thought it was weird that they kind of had a little blood stain on them. This, I sit on it. This was another gift from an ex many years ago. They printed. This was also pre Mario RPG Remake, so they didn't have the. This was the only render that they had. Can't even fit it in the frame, it's so big. Big chungus Yoshi blanket. And not only does it not fit on the screen, but it doesn't even fit on the blanket. He's chopped off. He's chopped on the top. So that's one of the nicer things the funnier things that I have. And I usually sit on it as extra padding for my butt, which does not exist. Okay. It's time for Yoshi plushes of variable size. So... Oh dear. Let's try to Set that up again. There we go. Huh? Okay. I think we're good. Oh, nope. The setup that I have here is literally just my phone, but quite precarious as well. This guy, I don't know where he came from, but I also got this guy. Okay. Yoshi plush is a variable size. So we have this, which is Luigi on yellow Yoshi. 2012. And I like this guy because he is able to stand up. So that's fun. You can kind of do that. And Luigi is caked up. Look at him. So that's fun. And then we have this guy who looks remarkably like his Mario Party model. Sorry, I'm just getting rid of a notification. Oh god, I have so many. It looks a lot like the Nintendo 64 model. I think they also used it in like Mario Tennis, I remember. My Birdo that I have. She's a little smaller, but she also very much to me looks like the Mario Tennis model in particular. So that's kind of cute. But anyway, this guy's pretty busted because my parents on a birthday long ago, I think it was a birthday, maybe Christmas or something, had gotten this guy for me from an unhoused person who was selling it in our neighborhood. And so he's been through some shit. He's my busted boy. And I love him. He's great. And he's very holdable. But this guy, talk about holdable. Boom. Big, large. That's a guy right there. Right here. That's a guy. So, I have that just sort of in my room. What else? Here, stay here. You can kind of see him. Another thing, plush-wise, that I have is this big egg plush. Again, I get gifted Yoshi egg-related things a lot because that used to be my username for many years. Egg. Again, you can't really see that, but so there's egg. Here's something that might be a little bit rare. This is a lunchbox. A Nintendo DS branded Yoshi lunchbox with that render that they would not stop using for many years. Yeah. This is something that I've also just had for forever. I think the stylus came with this, and I believe there was also a like a sticker wrap kind of thing that you could put on your DS, and I did put that on my DS, I think, for a while. I think it started peeling pretty bad after a while, but let's open this up. Oh wow. Let's open this up. Okay, yeah, so this, I believe, was... These are screen protectors. Ancient screen protectors. Yeah, these are kind of remnants of the sticker wrap. I believe you could put this around the rest, like the bottom screen, but I don't think I wanted to do that. And then these are like game cases, little silicone game cases. This is evidently where the DS went. And this is another little DS stylus. Regular kind. This maybe was the one that I took out of my DS so that I could primarily use that one. Is there anything else in here? I want to like take out the... Or can I? Seems like maybe this foam is like built into the... Or at least it's been in there for 20 years, so who knows. Yeah, I can't get that out, but anyway, that's kind of a relic. And then last couple things. I think this is the last like official thing that I have. Also have never taken this out of the box. He's para Yoshi even, and he's this little RC guy. And I always thought it would be funny to actually fly this at some point, but I cannot imagine what scenario I would. Maybe that'll be the grand finale of the all the dust is getting into my COVID lungs. Maybe this will be the finale of the Mario Galaxy video. You never know. But anyway, I believe this was from an ex's parents. And yeah, there's a Mario one too, with the cape, which is pretty cute, and evidently a raccoon Mario one as well. So yeah, maybe I'll break this out. I don't know. Okay, last couple things, and then we'll talk about the movie. These are more things that were made for me. This is something that my cousin Sawyer drew when he was very little. He's now like 19. It was his birthday the other day, actually. I have this on my wall. So he drew the Paper Mario render of Yoshi and wrote a whole bunch of shit on it that I haven't even looked at for a while. There's a lot going on here. Oh man. Yeah. This is a very treasured possession of mine. because Sawyer and I would play. I was kind of the one who showed him Mario at all. Um, and we bonded over these, so that's a wonderful thing to have. And then this was painted for me by an ex, and it says Yoshi says gay rights, and that he certainly does. I love this thing. This is also just something that I just have in my room, and always will. So yeah, that was all the Yoshi stuff that I was able to dig out. There are a few things that are missing in action over the years, and I'll tell you about those. And I'm sure that there's even more that I just don't remember. But there was... I distinctly remember this mug that was of a Yoshi egg, and it was like a Yoshi egg that was cracked on the top, and you like drank out of it. It was not good to drink out of. I think I only drank out of it like once. That has since disappeared. I don't know where that went. Probably moving. The couple of times that I've moved, it was a casualty of that. I don't remember. And then the other thing that I can't find, that I do kind of wish I could find, was about 10 years ago, my ex had gotten me this fucking like varsity Letterman jacket type thing that was like all swagged out with Yoshi on it. I think if you just search like Yoshi Letterman jacket, it'll come up probably. That thing was ridiculous looking, but very swagged out, and they sort of got it for me as a joke, but I was like, I would kind of unironically wear this. Like, it would be a little bit ironic, but not as much as you would like. And I have no idea where that went. And that's harder to lose, I think, you know, from a logistical standpoint, because it's like, that's a whole garment of clothing, and I have shit that I've worn since like before high school still, so yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to that. I think somebody stole it because it was too swagful. Anyway, I think that's it. Let's get into the shit. By which I mean, let's talk about the Mario Galaxy movie. Which the past few days have been, and really like leading up to the movie as well, have been, have you seen that meme? There's this TikTok of this guy on the bus, like, explaining the Mario Galaxy movie to two women who don't care, and it's called, like, explaining the Mario Galaxy movie to two women who don't care. That has been my entire life. Especially because I'm sick and have nothing else to do. But yeah, so spoilers now for the Mario Galaxy movie. I suppose I'll time stamp this in the VOD on YouTube, which should work. Hopefully this isn't completely lost to time, although it wouldn't be too big of a loss. Anyway, everybody is giving their opinions on this movie. I was gonna say, like, I don't know what it is that's like firing people so up so much about this movie, but I kind of do know. The comparison is the they probably shouldn't have called it the Mario Galaxy movie. I understand why they did. Even like outside of a cynical marketing thing, I understand why they did. And I wrote about it a little bit on Letterboxd. I've talked about it a little bit on Blue Sky. But it hasn't really reached containment yet. So this is sort of the prequel, at least, of it breaching containment. Not that what I have to say about it is particularly important or insightful, but anyway, I thought it was really pretty. I thought it was also pretty funny in certain parts. Definitely, like, the jokes landed better than the first movie for me, but also, like, they just said less in this movie compared to the first one anyway, which is kind of a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, I'm glad that they're saying less, but that also makes what they do say more important. Like, it's more important that it's funny, like, or interesting, like, what they are saying, because they're not saying that much. Does that make sense? So there was that happening writing wise. If I had my hands on these movies, writing wise, well, first of all, I wouldn't have Mario or probably Luigi, but I definitely wouldn't have Mario speak like at all. And I understand that this is it makes making a movie just a lot harder and clunkier, but I would want to do it anyway, because I'm crazy, and that's really, you shouldn't listen to me about what I say about this movie at all, because I am crazy, and yeah, so disclaimer. Disclaimer for the movie review, don't listen to it. But anyway, so writing wise, I think it was better-ish in some ways, or at least on like the dialogue level, but they did that thing again, and I know I haven't really talked about the first Mario movie that much, like, I mean, certainly not on YouTube. I've talked about it a little bit elsewhere, but, you know, my like main thing about the first movie was that they just kind of forgot to do character arcs, or rather, they set it up, for pretty much everybody. They set up a traditional seeming character arc where I was like, okay, I can see where this is going to go, probably. Let's do it. Even if I wasn't a fan of every single like setup, for those, like, I like, for example, in the first movie, there was this stuff with Mario and his dad, and that was kind of like the closest thing to them actually making an arc out of, but there's kind of no middle to that. It's like kind of just beginning and end. And also I want to say off the bat that I am speaking about all of this in a way that is giving the expectation to these movies to be traditional, like, Western kids action movies, you know, which they are ostensibly, but also, like, you know, not, I do want to say that not every movie needs to have a character arc that is written in a way that Western audiences will immediately understand. If it is a children's movie, I think that expectation is probably there a little bit more for it to be like immediately understandable. Um, but I can think of a bunch of kids movies that don't, and animated movies that don't, you know, have that, that aren't trying to like cater to the widest possible audience. Why I or anyone would expect the Mario movie by the most successful animation company commercially right now, and by Nintendo, who's the richest company in Japan. Um, why I or anyone would expect that not catered to the most general audience possible, um, is silly. But um, what the discourse around this movie and the last movie have made me pretty angry about is just like the absolute devaluing of kids media, and it's a tale as old as time. It's nothing new, but it's definitely like people like, why are you expecting the Mario movie to be deep, or whatever, and it's like, and I can only speak for myself. Like, I am not expecting it to be deep. I would like it to be deep because I think that would be cool, um, and it would scratch my brain in that particular way. Um, I don't think that most people who know how to who are talking about this movie know how to talk about Mario autism, uh, capital M, capital A, which I very much have. There are many people, my friend Sean DeWalsh 3 on YouTube, who did that Mario video with me, and like all of my friends from Fantendo are all examples of people who definitely like have the Mario autism that I have, or at least I've projected that onto them. But they all know way more about Mario than I do, and in an average group of people in Los Angeles, I'm usually the one who knows the most about Mario in a room statistically. Um, but who is measuring that? Why would you measure that? It's not a contest. It doesn't matter. Um, but whenever people are like, I have been in situations where people have like been talking about the new Mario Kart or like the Mario movies or whatever, just in a regular group, and I kind of have to like hold my tongue a little bit because I'm not normal about for lack of a better way to put it. um I'm not normal about these fictional properties, as evidenced by um my behavior and my hoard of purchased goods that I have shown you previously in the rest of this stream. So all of that to say, like, I I don't think that people like the key jingling thing. There's this phrase that people are using constantly about this movie in particular, but also definitely the last one. Um, it's key jingling, and I totally understand what is meant by that, because a lot of these movies are just you know putting references in front of your faces, jingling the keys in front of your faces, with not that much else behind them in terms of narrative, uh, and I mean, you could argue, and many do, that that is what the Mario games are, uh, also, um, is, and a lot of them have become sort of recursively self-referential in a way where like Super Smash Brothers is a good. It's not a Mario game, but it's a good example of something that kind of only exists to contain references to other things that exist, and the novelty of those being in a different form that you can engage with than the form that you usually engage them, and then also like the crossover element of that is a big deal. And obviously there's a little bit of that going on in the Mario Galaxy movie, so isn't that interesting? But so yes, there is definitely there's key jingling going on. I think everything is key jingling, and that's not necessarily to devalue the key jingling that is going on here, but I do think it is worth mentioning that that everything is kind of like that. um, but yeah, they just kind of don't. They set up character arcs in a way that's very easy, especially like as an adult viewer and someone who like watches movies, to like be like, this is what I'm expecting. I compare it to other pieces of kids media that I think work really well and don't like coddle the viewer in ways that I feel like the Mario movies and other things like it do. But examples of kid media that don't do this, that I can compare it to, are like, I love Adventure Time and I love Steven Universe. And both of those things, you can usually tell. And Adventure Time's a little bit more avant-garde, I would say, but so mostly I'm thinking about Steven here. But at the beginning third of an episode of Steven Universe, you can pretty much tell like where it's going to go unless there's an explicit plot twist. Like it's setting up a character conflict, and that is what's going to be dealt with for this episode. Like the first one that came into my head for some reason is the episode of Steven where Lapis, Steven and Greg bring Lapis onto the boat that Greg buys, and then Jasper shows up at the end. One of my favorite episodes of the show, but why I think that works is that you, and especially you as an adult, like watching it, can get pretty quickly, like, within the first few minutes, the setup for the episode is Greg's bought a boat, Steven wants Lapis to be on the boat, Lapis is not quite sure about being on the boat. That's all established within like the first 3 minutes, and very, very clearly, and it's done in a way where you will be like, okay, this is what I can expect from the next like 8 or 9 minutes of this episode. That particular episode subverts some expectations at the end there, by Jasper showing up and it being this message about the complicated feelings that you have around an abusive relationship. So in that sense, it's not entirely analogous to the Mario movie, obviously. But the reason why I compare them is because it's not analogous. It's because that episode of Steven is actually about something, and it was about something even before you get into the deeper level of it being about an abuse victim. Um, that's like kind of level 2. Um, but first and foremost, the thing that you're able to telegraph immediately is that it's, capital A, about this character conflict uh, of Steven wanting Lapis to like get out of her shell and hang out with his dad more and kind of like make amends there. Um, but Lapis not being so sure. Um, that whole thing. It's about that, and then it's like even more capital A about um, the experience of being an abuse victim and the complicated feelings around that. So the other things, have even more levels than that. Like I watched Mulholland Drive for the first time recently, and have been insane about it ever since. And there's lots of levels to that movie that you can read into it, but also that you don't even that are just there. You don't even really need to read into it that much to see that there's kind of a lot going on there. Um, but Steven is one of the deeper pieces of kids media that I've seen, but it kind of only needs that like 2 or 3 levels of the onion to peel back. Um, I think more than that would make it just like a little bit too complicated. And again, it's not that I when I phrase it that way, I want to be clear that I don't think that the kids media uh, should be a certain level of shallow, because kids are a certain level of shallow. Like, kids are very smart, and we shouldn't talk down to them. And I think part of why the reaction to this movie is so intense is because people do feel talked down to, albeit mostly adults. But like adults from the perspective of children, I suppose, feel talked down to. And yeah, but so there's conversations about that, and I've always been very firmly on the side of like, no, like if it can be like deeper and more interesting, it should be. Like, there's kind of no reason for it not to be, other than if you think that kids are stupid, and if you do think that kids are stupid, then I think you're kind of stupid, you know? Because kids are demonstrably not stupid, and, deserve deep things. However, it might not be accessible to them just on a practical level, for things to be, 5 or 6 layers deep on the scale that I've sort of abstractly described. So, you get things like Steven that are a couple levels deep enough for somebody who's older and more used to things that are multiple levels deep to be able to dig down into and be like, oh yeah, there's like something here for me to like bite into. And then, also, like shallow enough for people of all ages to be able to, dig into with not that big of a barrier to entry, I suppose, is the main difference. Is it's like an accessibility thing. And like as a kid, watching Steven and watching Adventure Time for the first time, I was totally blown away because it was kind of it was of the deeper. It had more onion layers than a lot of the other stuff that I was interacting with at the time, and it was being marketed directly to me, so that just totally blew me away. And I think that kids media that has the opportunity to do that, like, should do that. And I don't think that, like, really any kids media doesn't have the opportunity to do that. It's just a matter of if it's being written, like, well and conscientiously enough. That's not an objective metric, as I kind of just made it sound there, but it is, you know, it's a thing. I'm gonna grab, hold, I'm gonna hold my Yoshi as I tell you this. But yeah, obviously, like, the Mario Galaxy movie was not operating on, or its predecessor for that matter. We're not really dealing with themes or character arcs that follow through in a way that and I actually kind of think that that's more inaccessible, that's less accessible than it not doing that, because, like, I think the reason why things like Steven are popular is because it is coherent to people of all ages. And people of all ages can and have peeled through the onion layers, you know? But I think if you just don't have the onion layers to your thing you've made, then there's, you know, there could still be something to bite into, and there clearly is with these Mario movies. Like, they're and I again, like, I don't want to frame that very specific way of writing and thinking about, like, themes and characters and stuff. I don't want to frame that as the only right way to do things, because that's very Eurocentric and you know, just not accurate to the real world. Like, there's a million different ways to do things, and there's a million different ways to appreciate things. And I really appreciated, for example, like, the Mario movies, like, on a visual level. Like, I think the animation is just really good, and definitely, like, the best looking illumination things that I've seen, or at least my favorite. I think that is, you know, biased considerably on my end. However, I do think that, like, just on an appeal level to me, these are, like, definitely the best looking illumination movies. And people saying that these movies are, like, artistically bankrupt, I think definitely, like, from a visual perspective, and granted, they are lifting a lot of the visuals and a lot of the creative, like, ideas from existing things. So there's some reheating of nachos going on a bit. However, I just don't find it fair to say that the movies are completely bereft of, you know, artistic ingenuity and value, you know. Because even within the Mario Galaxy movie, even though it was mostly reheating the nachos of many different Mario properties, Galaxy included, it still did some fun, you know, jokes, visual jokes of their own and stuff like that. And the one that comes to mind is Bowser flexing, and his cuff breaking off I don't think that's happened in any of the games that they took that from. That was just an original idea. I thought that was cute and funny. Stuff like that, micro in the grand scheme of things, level stuff. But still, like, so I think when people are saying like this is just a completely regurgitated product, like, yes, I do think it's largely regurgitated, but I don't think entirely. I think that there is some genuinely like great character animation stuff going on. I don't think it's in its service of a very good story. And again, like, I think I've said this more than enough, like, the Western way of telling stories is not the only way to tell a story. And especially given that these games were originally Japanese, like, I think that's worth considering, because even though they have been filtered through Western lenses via these movies, like, a couple of different times now, like, it's still not necessarily coming from that place, so they might not have the same sensibilities from a Reddit perspective. But a lot of the people who were responsible for the, like, writing wise creative direction of these movies were, American, or, from Illumination, so, from Global West, Europe and stuff. I think they're French. Should look that up. Excuse my ignorance, but they they just kind of don't do character arcs, and I think that would be way less frustrating if they didn't set it up. It's kind of like, and I hate to use this phrase, but they're kind of blue balling us a little bit. I say I hate to use that phrase. I used it a ton in my Letterboxd review, which you can go read. I just used a ton of just extremely disgusting metaphors in that review for a children's movie. I don't know why that was my instinct. It is still up if you want to take a look at it. I probably will not use those metaphors in the video that I make. And that's sort of like the trial run of what I'm attempting to do right now, is challenging myself not to use those sexual metaphors. I don't know. I have a broken brain. That's the best excuse I can come up with. But in any case, like, it feels like many times throughout both of these movies, they set up something in the Steven Universe way that I was describing. Like, Act 1, you're like, okay, this is where this character's arc is going to go. Like, for example, Mario, like, and granted, in this one, they do kind of take that full circle, but again, it's not full circle. There's no middle to a lot of these arcs. Even if they're ostensibly referenced at the end, there was like kind of a beginning, like no middle, and like barely an end to a lot of these character arcs. For example, in this one, like Mario and Peach, like the romantic tension there is not followed up on. I guess what's going to be followed up on enough is going to be variable to people, but I just felt like there wasn't quite enough follow up on that between the first time it's brought up, which I believe was like when Mario gets her the umbrella and then brings it home, and Luigi and Yoshi are like teasing him, and then at the very end where he is like telling her to go save Rosalina, and then at the very, very end when she gives him a kiss and he says, "Bing, bing, wahoo." Like, that's almost an arc, and I guess the middle of that, in this case, would be them meeting up at Gateway Galaxy and doing the awkward handshake thing, which was kind of funny. But my point is that, like, well, my point is there was not that much set off and payoff, like, not appropriate to the level that I felt like would have been narratively satisfying. You know, despite the fact that this is just a Mario movie or whatever, hopefully I did engage with that discourse a little bit more than I would have normally, but hopefully by now we can definitely, like, put that way aside and just talk about this, like, on its own merits, because I feel like a lot of what's been bothering me about the discourse surrounding this movie is people being like, "Oh, it shouldn't be that deep, it's a Mario movie," you know. Obviously, I have my own personal reservations about that as someone who has a very specific reading of the Mario games, and, like, that's also something that I do kind of want to address, is that, like, and especially the video that Sean and I did, it definitely posits, in its very roundabout way, a particular reading of the Mario games united under one continuity and everything. And ultimately that is just one reading of the games that you can have and not the only one. But in that video, I think both of us are implying that that is the real Nintendo way of reading those games, and, like, the way that the people who are making them largely read them. And there's also a lot of frustrating to me discourse about, like, Miyamoto and, like, his input on the movie, and, like, we don't know what his input on the movie was, just like we don't know what his input on the games really is, largely. And I think, like, just assuming that certain things, like Fox's inclusion, like, that was not his, at least not his decision up front, that was a thing that was pitched by Illumination, and then, you know, it's not hard to see how that decision aligns with Miyamoto's sensibilities, because, like Pikmin, I think Pikmin is an example of something that is more proposed by Miyamoto and then gets implemented into things, because Pikmin are kind of his baby. Fox is also kind of his baby, so I think a lot of people assumed that, like, oh, this is just Miyamoto, like, jerking off onto the screen, and, like, taking creative control. No, that's evidently, according to them at least, that's not what it was at all. And I think just assuming that is a little silly, even though I understand, like, where it's coming from. But all of this to say, like, just because these movies don't align with my personal reading of the Bible that is the Mario games, or really rather, it doesn't align with the Bible that is my personal reading of Mario games. Like, the Mario games themselves are not even necessarily the Bible. It is just my interpretation of it. And that's why I compare it to religion kind of a lot, and why I did in that video that Sean and I made, and why I continue to now, is because a lot of people are against these movies simply because it does not align with their interpretation of the scripture, essentially. And that is not really the issue that I have. Like, incidentally, I can't be entirely objective about it, because this is a series that I am very autistic about. So I want to say that as well. And I feel like I kind of already have, but like, I think it's worth repeating as much as possible. Like, there is no objectivity to this. This is all kind of just vibes. However, as much as humanly possible, I do try to think about these movies as like structural things that function in a way that I feel like either hits or doesn't. I try to think about them in that way, rather than, does this align with the Mario scripture that I have constructed in my head, if that makes sense. And I try to do that as much as possible. And I do think, which is going to be the point of the videos that I'm going to make about this, like, I think it is possible to do both of those things. To be faithful to the scripture while also functioning in a cinematic narrative way. Like, definitely the reading that Sean and I have of, which I'm not even gonna say are the same exact reading, but like, for all intents and purposes, certainly for this discussion, similar enough to where I'm gonna lump them together in this case. But like, our reading of the games and the macro narrative that they're telling is very much inherent to them being games, and so translating that, if I were to translate that, I would be thinking of that macro narrative at the forefront of my mind, which a lot of people probably aren't doing, including Miyamoto, because ultimately it's not an internal, like, we have no way of knowing really if these things were artistically intended by the people making them. Ultimately, it's still just an interpretation of events filtered through, our minds, my mind. So, all of that to say, I try really hard not to judge these movies based on what's canon in my brain, what is headcanon, and more just like what's gonna work for what they're trying to build, structurally speaking. And I feel like even on that metric, like, there's a lot that I can and will talk about that does not align with my headcanon, and I feel like both could align with my headcanon and still be a narratively satisfying movie, perhaps even more so than what we got. But what bothers me, and I think what bothers a lot of people about these movies, is that they both don't align with their headcanon and don't really function as movies. So, to use actual examples from the movies now, and I suppose to use Yoshi as an example, the least smooth segues in the whole world. They seem to have nixed the Yoshi backstory stuff in these movies entirely. At least that is how it appears. So in these movies, the first time they met Yoshi was in the pyramid at in Tostarena town, or outside of Tostarena town, which might not even be on the same planet as the Mushroom Kingdom anymore. I'm pretty sure it still is, because they didn't have to like go to the Gateway Galaxy first in order to get there. At least not like on screen. But I do think it's still technically possible that like that it's another planet. Which is also kind of an issue that I have with the Galaxy movie in particular, is that like the point to me of Mario Odyssey was that all of these disparate, these places with completely different art styles and people and modes of gameplay can exist on the same planet, and Mario being a fish out of water in all of those environments is funny and interesting and contributes to the larger theme of Mario Odyssey, which to me was the experience of traveling, like opening your empathy centers, because Mario is literally inhabiting the denizens of these places, non-consensually, but still, he's literally entering their bodies and operating in these different places that are supposed to be they're supposed to clash, but they are crucially supposed to be on the same planet. And I think thematically that that's just one of the things that I read into Mario Odyssey, and like one of the reasons why I like Mario Odyssey is because I interpret it as a story about how travel makes you a better person. And obviously, like, this is the Galaxy movie, this isn't the Odyssey movie. I'm not really expecting that to be fully embraced in this from like an adaptation standpoint. However, it is using a lot of stuff from Odyssey, and I don't see that theme reflected, and that is kind of disappointing to me. And what I was talking about in the beginning of this stream is, again, this is ultimately just my headcanon and like my interpretation of the Yoshi and Mario story, but like I always found it touching that they knew each other, that Mario was, or that Yoshi was pivotal to Mario and Luigi's survival as children. And then it's unclear later on whether or not they even remember Yoshi as adults. Or vice versa, really. Like, we don't really know if Yoshi remembers them either. At least not, like, capital Y Yoshi. And also I think it's possible that, like, the Yoshis that did help them during the events of Yoshi's Island, like, I don't know, maybe they all died out by the time that Mario and Luigi are adults. We don't really know. But I always thought, like, just on a cosmic and, like, thematic level, that it was nice that they were pivotal in their survival, in the brothers' survival, for pretty much no reason. And then they reconnect later in life, in their adult life, and just like continue this bond with like capital Y Yoshi, but also like the Yoshis in general. They're like helping each other out, and they have this like symbiotic relationship, and it's like this unconditional love to me. That's what it represents to me. That's what Yoshi represents to me, is this like this unconditional love and just doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do and not for any ulterior motive, even though those ulterior motives are there, and not only there but kind of like inbuilt to this Yoshi species, is that they eat stuff. Like that's just what they do. I eat, John. It's what I do. And so I feel like you could adapt some of those things thematically by maintaining that connection to the timeline, by adapting that accurately. And they just kind of don't, not as a personal attack to me or anyone, but it does kind of feel like they didn't because they felt like either that's not something that anybody else gets out of this and I'm just crazy, or they thought it was, you know, too much for kids or whatever, which is not like necessarily the impression that I'm getting from the filmmakers, but it definitely is the impression that I'm getting from the discourse surrounding these movies, which is why I bring it up at all. My God. You see that? That pink Yoshi just had my washi tape. Hold on. Oh God. I'm gonna have to upend my... I have this very bent transgender flag with Yoshi on it. He just, in the video, he placed like identical ass green washi tape on top of this thing. It freaked me out for a second. Anyway, everything's dropping. This entire room really is held up by a house of cards. This entire room really is. Oh Jesus. Okay, I'll deal with it later. But anyway, yeah, they don't adapt a lot of the timeline stuff, which I just think like is A, to me narratively interesting, and B, has the potential to be narratively interesting to a wider audience who isn't just me being crazy. Yeah, they kind of just don't, and then they also just kind of don't. There's nothing in its place. There's not really like very developed character arcs in their place, because it's like, okay, if I am just judging this not necessarily as an adaptation but just as its own thing, I would at least want there, like most movies have, again, it's not necessarily required for movies to have these things, but I do think it is generally more enjoyable if a movie does have, you know, a trackable beginning, middle, and end character arc for your major characters. You know, in the places of the things that they choose not to adapt, Yoshi being one of them, but Rosalina being definitely the most glaring, which I'll get into now. Like, the alternatives that they pose are just not very, like, narratively compelling to me and to others. or at least not as much as the headcanon version. Now, is that kind of a recipe for disaster inherently? Yeah, kind of. Like, I will be the first to admit that comparing something that you've had as like headcanon for 30 years to just a movie that made within the last like 5 years is not really fair. However, again, like this is not objective. This is all completely subjective. So, and because of that, I think I have to bring my own baggage with this series in with me to the movie theater to a certain extent, because like how can I not? I just exist in the world. So yeah, I definitely don't like the Rosalina changes. I think they could have quite easily adapted that closer to the storybook from the original game and still had it connect in a way that's maybe a little bit easier to understand. My personal interpretation of the storybook, my personal headcanon there, aligns most closely with there's a video by the Nintendude on YouTube that I would recommend you go look up about Rosalina. He just sort of like reframes the narrative of the storybook, or not even reframes, but just sort of like puts it into context with the rest of the game's canon from a certain point of view. And long story short, like what he says in that video is that like it seems when you look at it from a certain angle that like Rosalina is maybe like a distant descendant of or not descendant, whatever, ascendant, I suppose. A distant relative of Peach, or else just one of the Mario princesses that exist, not in space. It seems like she's a distant relative that went into space to take care of the Lumas, and then stopped aging, or at least is not aging in a way that is comparable to people on Mushroom Earth, or whatever we're calling it. Because it said that she comes back around on the comet every 1,000 years, and this is so she's like at least 1,000 years old, I think, is the implication that Nintendude posits, and one that that aligns more closely with what I think is true. And so it is possible and even kind of likely that like she is related to Peach, but in a very like she's like a great aunt or something, and definitely not a sister. And but I do think that there is a way that they could have done the sister thing that would have been compelling still, in ways that were similar enough to the ways that the original storybook was compelling. I think you could have still killed the mom, which sounds like a horrible thing. This is also, now I'm thinking about my Sonic 3, the movie video, where I'm frothing at the mouth chanting about how they should kill that little girl. Um, they should have killed Rosalina's mom, I think. Still, uh, you know, Up is sad, and that's for kids. Uh, there's hella death and horrible loss, and discussions of grief within kids media, um, including most Disney movies, including the Mario Galaxy video game. You know, uh, so it's just kind of a weird, feels like a weird sort of punch, a pulled punch, um, on the writer's part. Um, One benefit that I do think it has is that it gives Peach more like narrative agency. Um, but I don't think that Peach is really Peach in these movies. Just like on a personality level. I don't think that really anybody is really themselves in these movies. Um, but like, I think especially Peach, and this is something that Aronach talks about in a way that's better than the way that I'm going to talk about it right now. But in her video, but like, I just think that Nintendo and Illumination think that like having a hyper femme character at all is like not feminist somehow, um, and that she has to be on the other end of the spectrum, or she's not even necessarily on the other end of the spectrum insofar as she's like masculinized, but like she they did take away some of her whimsy, I think, and some of her early popishness, um, in a way that people are missing, and I definitely am too. Like I miss that aspect of her character, and I think that they could have integrated that in a way that would have still been interesting and would have still been, feminist. You know, Harper's going crazy. Sorry about that. Harper, it's okay. Harper Lee, it's okay. Shh. Um. Anyway, the there's a point in the Mario Galaxy movie. I'm bouncing the fuck around completely. I'm sorry. This is completely unstructured. Um, there is a part in the Mario Galaxy movie where Peach is getting mad at and frustrated about not being able to find Rosalina, and then she says, "Princesses don't get mad." And that was an opportunity just within what they set up in that movie. That was an opportunity for them to create a character arc for her, just putting my writer brain on. That's like, okay, what if we make Peach's deal in this movie? Like, yes, she like, if we want to give her more narrative agency, I do think that's a good thing. I think, and connecting her to Rosalina in this way is an efficient way to do that. So I understand why they did it. But then make it about that. Make it capital A about that. So when she said like princesses don't get mad, if in the previous this would require in the previous movie that they would have made Peach maybe a little bit closer to how she is in the games. But maybe her arc in the Mario Galaxy movie can be about her being really invested in wanting to find Rosalina and having a lot of like big feelings about that, obviously. But maybe she thinks she's been programmed by society to think that it's unbecoming of a princess to have the amount of agency that she's like giving herself and have the big feelings that she's having and being angry and like fighting people. Maybe you make her arc about that, you know? And I kind of thought that they were going to, when she said that line, I thought that they were maybe going to retroactively, like, insert that into the movie because it hadn't really been teased prior to that, but I was kind of like, oh, is that what they're going to do with her? Like, is that the function of her in this? And again, like, not every movie needs, and not every character needs to have a function, but the way that this is written, it teases you for that, I feel like, and then doesn't follow up on it, and then that's why it's coming off as narratively unsatisfying. It's kind of like pick one, like either don't write with that expectation at all, so that the audience doesn't have that expectation, or see it through, commit, give Peach a character arc, give Mario a character arc. And I think a million years ago I was talking about how they didn't follow up on Mario and Peach that much in this movie. In hindsight, as I'm thinking about it now, they did more than most other things in these movies. So I won't harp on that too much. But I do think there could have been a few more moments to where... I also think that part of Mario's arc in this movie could have been like... Because there's a few moments in this movie where he's like trying to handle things. He's trying to be like the stay-at-home plumber hero guy. And mostly being successful at that, but they fuck up her castle and like that's a whole thing. So there could have been some tension there of like Mario being worried if he's like capable compared to Peach, and then maybe you can even, again, this is a kids movie, so I'm not necessarily expecting the most robust version of this, but like turn it into a gendered thing. It's like maybe Mario feels kind of emasculated by the fact that Peach is taking charge on this adventure, and maybe he struggles with that for a little bit until that nice moment at the end where he's like you go save Rosalina, I'll deal with Bowser, and squeezes her hand through the gate at the end there. That was like a nice moment that I think people have latched onto, but there wasn't really anything leading up to that would have like earned that. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be a struggle, but I think that would have been kind of interesting. Like the idea of Mario having to reckon with the fact that he's not necessarily the protagonist of his own story. Could be something, you know? Just thinking within the framework of the thing that they've built. But like they didn't even do that, you know? They didn't even explore any of those things, really. They just sort of left them dangling there. And yeah, I think Yoshi's another example where they could have stuck closer to the game's version and still had it like make sense. When they released that clip of him meeting the brothers, of Yoshi meeting the brothers in the pyramid, like a month ago, I definitely got the impression from that like, oh yeah, they're probably not doing the backstory stuff, but there was a way that I was reading that scene, sort of like wishful thinking style, that like, maybe Yoshi doesn't recognize them at first, but maybe him seeing the light, like coming into the light, is him I kind of clocked this thing in the character animation that's like, oh, maybe that's like a look of recognition. Maybe he's recognizing the brothers. Maybe he like smells them like a dog or something like that, and he like recognizes their smell. Um, and it's actually this reunion. Um, and clearly, like in this timeline, the brothers don't remember him. Um, but I think it could have been a thing where like, oh well, Yoshi remembers, Mario and Luigi don't because they were babies, but maybe through the course of this story and getting to know Yoshi, like somehow that memory gets jogged or something like that. They realize that there's been this connection this whole time. And maybe if they don't even necessarily need to realize it, um, like that can just be a thing for the audience. But I think that would add just another slight little layer of thing that I don't think is too complicated for kids to understand. I really don't. Like I think it can definitely be written and smoothed out in a way where that is understood. I mean, you know, kids understand it now because kids play Mario games with at least some understanding that there was a relationship uh, between Mario and Luigi and Yoshi, you know, prior to the games that we're seeing them in for the most part. Um, you know, not everybody is really bringing all the emotional stuff into it that I am, but, you know, I do think people are reading it like that. Um, but, but yeah, they just kind of don't. Another example of that in the Galaxy movie specifically is Toad. I feel like Toad actually had like a ton of opportunity for like little narrative arcs, and I don't know how much like as kind of a side character, I don't know how much that really even could have gotten followed up on. And they probably didn't feel like it was necessary. But there were all these little things that I was latching onto with Toad where I was like, oh, are they gonna like do something with Toad? Are they gonna like give him this character arc? And they just drop it. Like Toad being jealous of Yoshi in the Mario Galaxy movie is something that they bring up in the beginning and like maybe one other time. But there's no resolution to that. And a lot of people have pointed that out, that like that feels weird, that there's just like, you know, whether that's him being more resentful of Yoshi or less, like there's either way, there's no resolution of that conflict at all. It's just sort of like left dangling there. But then I'm thinking about like, okay, what does that mean for this version of Toad? Like this version of Toad really likes Mario, and is like takes a lot of pride in being like both Mario and Peach's like right hand guy. And so what does it mean for this new character to come up who has a lot more utility to all of them than Toad seems to? Maybe he's insecure about that. I don't love the idea, just on paper, the idea of Toad being jealous of Yoshi, but like if you're gonna do that, then like do it, you know, like take it all the way. Like, okay, I can understand maybe why Toad would be jealous of Yoshi, because he wants to feel useful, because he wants to feel important, and Yoshi has endeared himself to these people without even knowing them for more than a day. You know, and he's like more useful because they can like ride on his back or whatever. I think that could be a thing. I was also expecting some like Captain Toad stuff to happen with him, because it's clear like from a visual standpoint that he is like slowly turning into like closer to the Captain Toad design. And there are entire schools of thought that like capital T Toad and Captain Toad are not the same person in the canon of the games. Personally, I don't care that much about like I think it's and I actually kind of like the idea of capital T Toad being Captain Toad, um, in the games even, um, and so I thought that that's kind of what they were going to do with these movies, and particularly in this movie, Captain Toad, originating from the original Mario Galaxy game, um, and then also them seeming to set up this inadequacy complex with Toad, in the beginning at least. Um, I was coming into this movie being like, oh, they're maybe gonna like give this is like his Captain Toad origin story, kind of like he really comes into his own as Captain Toad. Maybe Peach actually like officially promotes him into Captain Toad, and in my ideal version of this movie, I was thinking that actually like Peach at the very beginning of the story, like before even any of the Rosalina stuff happens, she's like, hey, so I'm putting together like a Toad brigade, and like you're my right hand guy, and I want you to be, I think that you could be ready to lead the Toad brigade and be the captain of the Toad brigade. And he's like, oh, I'm a captain? That's cool. I've never been a captain before. And he like doesn't think of himself super highly to like be a captain, but he wants to like, he's got it in his head now that like, oh, he's got to prove himself to Peach in order for her to promote him to captain. But they don't really get to finish that conversation, and he doesn't realize that like in Peach's head, like she's already promoted him to captain, like he was the obvious choice. Like she never really had any doubt of his abilities, and like was not really trying to test his abilities. But Toad assumes that that's because he has this inadequacy complex. Like Toad assumes that that's what she wants from him, and so as the story and the Rosalina stuff starts, Toad is like overcompensating and like taking charge, and being like, oh, I can show you that I can be a good captain. Like let me do this, and like actually messing up, like more than he would have if he just went into it like, I don't have anything to prove. Like I'm already good enough type thing. I was kind of expecting it to go somewhere like that, and if I was writing this movie, that's probably what I would do with Toad. But again, that might give him a little bit more center stage than he really needs in these movies. But it's just like, as somebody who writes, like, going down that character rabbit hole is just something that I do. Whether it's like good or not is entirely up to you, really. But like, that's at least compelling enough for me to think about and like talk about at length, like I just did. So, I was expecting something like that to happen, and it didn't, and that was just kind of disappointing. And it's not even disappointing again. It's not disappointing because the thing that I wanted to happen didn't happen. It's more disappointing that there's nothing in its place. Like there's the suggestion of a character arc, but not an actual character arc. They just kind of didn't bother, it feels like. And still, this is just my interpretation of the Mario games, but I think there is a lot more thought put into these games on the story level, on like a macro narrative level, on a meta narrative level even, than I think most people are giving this credit for, including, it seems, Miyamoto himself, which is why I wanted to stress at the beginning of this discussion that like Miyamoto is not the end all be all on these things, and kind of know what he is. But in interviews and stuff, he's like, yeah, this is the first time that Mario is really a person. And as someone who has read a lot into the Mario games, a lot of personality and character arc stuff with Mario. Hearing that from Miyamoto is disappointing because it's like I would think he of all people would kind of know that that's not. And so that suggests to me that like maybe my interpretation of the games is well and truly crazy and like just in my own head. Or just me and a couple of other people really. But honestly, like even with the subjectivity of it all in mind, like I do think that they are putting more thought into these games than 99% of people are giving them credit for. And that narrative is being perpetuated by the fact that these movies aren't very dense, but could be. And the empty space, the void of character arcs, and like narrative depth in these movies screams out to a lot of people. Even though a lot of those same people don't think that the games don't have this reading of the games, that they are very deep. So just on like a discourse level, that's been like extremely interesting to me. And it's something that I want to talk about. This is kind of the first time that I'm really like getting it out of my system to talk about it, but it's something that I want to talk about in a much more like well-groomed, video essay style way later on. And I probably will. But yeah. And I'll also, because I'm annoying, will probably propose my alternatives for Mario movies, both in the way that I just was with Toad and Yoshi and everybody, and like just proposing alternatives to what they already wrote, just kind of like following up on what they already wrote. But also I'm starting to percolate on some ideas for alternate versions, like almost script doctor versions of these movies. And my idea, it's not particularly original or anything, but like, my idea for is that Mario Galaxy is the third movie, and the second movie is called either Super Mario World or Super Mario Odyssey, and that one introduces Yoshi. I would like there to be, and I've joked about this for years. It would be technically challenging, but I think that it would be cool and it would scratch my brain if there was an intro sequence to one of these movies that was just the whole Yoshi's Island backstory in like 5 minutes, and no dialogue, and with kind of like a painterly style like the Yoshi's Island games, and yeah, kind of like the intro to Up, where like, yeah, it's just music, and it's just this like little sweeping adventure of like how Mario and Yoshi met, and then like how they got into where they're going, which in these movies is Brooklyn. In mine, it would probably be the Metro Kingdom. I think my personal, what makes most sense to me, and what gels well enough with the games for it to scratch my brain in that way, um, is that we nix the Brooklyn thing. The New Donk City can just be that, basically, um, but in like a slightly more uncanny way. Um, but basically, like, yeah, Mario and Luigi were born, or the stork like dropped them off in uh, on Yoshi's Island in the Mushroom Kingdom area. Um, Yoshi saved their lives. They got reunited with their parents. Then, somewhere probably in their childhood, they moved to New Donk City and always had this impression in them that, like, they're out of place in this environment because they're cartoon people, and everybody else in New Donk City except for Pauline are not are the Sims characters, basically, and so that retains some of the stuff that I like thematically about Mario Odyssey, is like the fish out of waterness, and then Mario discovers, like, oh no, it's like that because I'm not from the Metro Kingdom originally. I'm from the Mushroom Kingdom, and so maybe he and Luigi, like, try to venture back, but they have to go through some of the other kingdoms, so then you can get some of the other Odyssey stuff in there, and also, like, establish the fact that something that I think these movies leave to the wayside, is the idea that Mario is this sort of Renaissance man, and I think there should be an extended sequence in the beginning of the movie, of them trying to get to the Mushroom Kingdom, going through all the other kingdoms, where Mario's, like, doing a bunch of odd jobs. I think, like, his main job is, like, plumber. Like, that's his main squeeze. But, like, he's in the Wrecking Crew. They did adapt that into the movie, which I was glad to see. But remember when he fought in that war that one time? Maybe have, like, a tiny little montage segment of that. Mario, I think, needs to be more of this, like, working class Renaissance man. I understand why they made him an underdog in the first movie, and I actually didn't mind that decision narratively, and I don't think that should be like, sacrificed in my reinterpretation of things. I just think that he could be, like he could be out of place in different ways. He's, like, kind of hyper competent at things, but that's not necessarily the problem that he has. It's, like, different. I don't know. Yeah, and then when he eventually does get to the Mushroom Kingdom, this is a world built around pipes, and I think he probably finds that to be serendipitous, and he's like, okay, this is where I belong. This is gelling well with my life experience as a plumber. Anyway, more on that someday in the future. But my point is that, like, yeah, I think these movies could have their cake and eat it too. Be narratively satisfying while also being more faithful to the games in ways that make people scratch their brains. But I think, and I don't think that's an easy prospect at all, from a practical standpoint. But it just kind of doesn't. It just kind of leaves those things hanging. And a lot of the decisions that it makes to try and remedy that have their own downsides. Like Peach having more agency. Like, yes, I do generally think that's a good thing and good and healthy for the movie, the purpose of the narrative of a movie. Like having her as a perspective character. But I think it's a double-edged sword because it also makes Peach not very Peach-like, and I just think that you could do both of those things. And one of the ways in which I think they could do both of those things is by making her more bubbly and then have the fact that she's having these feelings and these compulsions to not do princess stuff be part of the narrative arc, you know? So, I think that's about all I want to say right now. And I know that, like, I did not say any of that in a very organized fashion whatsoever. But I am losing my voice, and I am hungry, and that's pretty much what I wanted to say. Videos forthcoming, maybe, among all the other fucking 10,000 things that I have to do. One of which is Gendermation, which is if you're in Los Angeles. It's at the Davidson Valentini Theater, right across the street from the West Hollywood LGBT Center building. It's in one of the little black box theaters over there, connected to the LGBT Center, and it's an hour of animated shorts by trans and non-binary people, a lot of whom are very dear friends of mine, that I put out the open call for and organized as part of this theater festival called Joy Who Lived, which is happening right now. And I would also want to plug that you should watch the live streamed versions. They have like VOD versions of some of the shows that have already been also a part of the Joy Who Lived festivals. I'm the only, like, Gendermation is the only animation type, like, film screening thing. This is mostly like a theater event, but there are all kinds of different shows. And last night I watched the short play incubator stream, which was basically just like a bunch of people, some of whom are friends of mine, some of whom I don't know at all, wrote just like short, usually like one act plays, and then like perform them in front of people, and that's available on the VOD now. I would really recommend watching those. All of them were really good. And then after that, there was a Joy Who Lived edition of this show called Hear Us Out, which is a show about your cursed hear me outs. That I would love to be on that show. Don't get me started. I have so many. But they did a very entertaining version of that that's also on VOD. The Man Who Ate Time is a whole play that they did that I watched on the live stream also the other night, and is on VOD. And there's also going to be a slight adaptation of Man Who Ate Time that's going to be a part of Gendermation, one of the films at Gendermation. But anyway, if you're in LA, go to that. I'll hopefully be there. Yeah, the thing is, I got COVID last Saturday, which is exactly 2 weeks out from Gendermation. So if I am not testing negative, then I will not be there. But if I am, then I will, and I'll see you there. And if you're not local, you can get a VOD version. There's like sliding scale tickets for those. And if you're here, and you would like the VOD version for free, just DM me. I'll just give it to you. It's just like an unlisted YouTube link, I think. So, yeah. And what else? Also, if all goes according to plan, I'm going to be in San Diego on 420 for this thing called Subway Goblins Art with Teeth. And the Himbo Soccer cartoon is going to be there. And also at Gendermation, speaking of eggs, at Gendermation, I'm going to be premiering my Humpty Dumpty cartoon. And that'll be on YouTube the next day, so you'll be able to see that soon. But stay tuned for that. Some ASMR. Okay. I'm gonna put all this shit away. Thanks for wasting time with me. Maybe more IRL streams at some point. I don't really like it, honestly. I don't love it, but that's just me. Hopefully you liked it more than I did. Okay. Goodbye. And now you get to watch me